last 24 hours of our prayer and strategy conference really has been a time of continuing to take time to develop relationships together and then responding to different words of the Lord to us. Now, yesterday afternoon, we went to the beach. It's been a very intense time with lots of meetings, and every coffee break and lunchtime counts because of all the different people we need to see. So that was a wonderful time of just continuing to fellowship. The development of the relationships here, not only at the global leadership team level, but younger people, more people from the non-Western world. We're trying to involve more women in our whole decision-making process and so forth, and correct the imbalances of the past. That's partly why we were at the beach yesterday.
So, Lord, what are the things that could really trip us up here? What are the things that could prevent us from winning the battles that lie ahead of us with this growth? And then, as a group, share them and begin to pray into them. And the prayers around protection and all out of that, I believe, will come some words about how God has equipped us to be protected against those very issues.
We also spent some time this morning thinking about the areas of vulnerability that are still there. What are these areas? In these tables that we have in the hall, we gathered and shared what are these weaknesses and what precautions can we take to get protection.
Lack of accountability, and we felt like the Lord's saying that many of us in the mission, YWAM gives a lot of freedom for starting your own ministry and leading your stuff and all this, but there isn't always clear, strong accountability structure over you, and so that if it's not clear, that we should make a very concerted effort to create accountability for ourselves in different areas.
I think our desire for growth could also lead us to drivenness, to a need to prove that we're actually growing and to become very busy in trying to make it happen. And the Lord was saying to us, if I promise it to you, I will make it happen. You don't need to make it happen. You don't need to be driven about making it happen.
No, what we felt was for the Lord to embrace us with humility, but also never to put ministry above gazing upon the beauty of the Lord. So intimacy was a very big thing.
Yeah, how many of you got that? Intimacy with the Lord, yeah, major thing.
As we go higher and higher and higher, we have missed the deeper part. And as we go wider and wider, we have missed the relationship part. So this thing was coming very strongly. Relationship in terms of family, marriage, children. We are so much caught up with busyness that we don't have time for our family, children, and sometimes for our ministry staff. We don't have time. So that part is, we saw that, basically relationship.
But we realized that each of us in our own personal areas, we needed to guard our hearts, guard our minds, guard our spirits and so forth. So we spent time talking about these areas of weakness and the precautions that we should take. And we're making a whole list of this, and we want to continue to work that through as we go back home into our different regions and so forth. Of course, one of the main points was personal accountability. To whom are we accountable? Are there really people in our lives who can speak into our lives and hold us to honesty?
Personally, I have never seen such a death record in our mission since 1983 till now. Within these 2 years, I have seen so much death that has brought such a discouragement and frustration to me personally, and I'm thinking, God, what is going on in our mission? What are you trying to say, Lord? Is it we have opened doors somehow for enemy to come in, or somehow we are not really thinking properly with you, or we are gone shallow with the walk with you? So that has brought some discouragement like that here.
I believe we need to zero in on that after the break. Lord, what are you saying to us about this record of deaths that has been so extensive in this last couple of years? What do you want us to learn from this, and what do you want us to do so that we're not so vulnerable to this?
We've had tragic accidents in Africa. We've had the shooting in Denver. We had the terrible burning of young children who were King's Kids related in Uganda. And we've had numerous deaths in Asia. And on the one hand, Lauren had a word a number of years ago that God was taking his protection off the mission, a special protection that he'd given for the formative years of Youth with a Mission. Yet on the other hand, we wanted to seek the Lord, what is going on here? And so we've spent time this morning also asking God for understanding. We realize that sometimes it has to do with making sure that we guard our unity, not giving a foothold for the enemy. Sometimes it's recognizing that we must be wise about even our recreational times. We don't take a holiday spiritually. And there have been a number of deaths, unfortunately, as a result of drowning and taking risks in situations that should never have happened. However, we have also really taken a stand for all of those who are sick in our mission around the world. We've been praying with specific people in mind. We've got several members of our GLT who are not able to be with us right now. Ian Muir being one, Alf Magnus is another, having treatment for cancer. And so we felt that this was something that we needed to unite together to do. We prayed over Ezekiel 37, speaking to the bones. We all joined hands there and breathed life into these bones. So that's really what we've continued to do, is continue to prepare to get ready for the greater exposure. God's been speaking about growth. He's been speaking about diversity. He's been reminding us to go back to words that he's spoken in the past that perhaps we've shied away from because of painful chapters of our history. And the ship chapter was one. And so now, as we pick up these words, and as we're looking for the growth and the multiplication in the future, it's going to mean increased visibility, increased profile, increased attack from the enemy. And we have to continue to deepen and strengthen our foundations, which really comes down to relationships, firstly with God, secondly with each other. So I think that's what God is continuing to do in our midst.